Well, welcome once again. This is the Doctor of Digital podcast. The purpose of the show is to transform your business and life with education and inspiration. I introduce busy business leaders to trends in business, technology, and marketing to highlight people you should know. Want to know how to carve a path through the glitz and glamour of Hollywood while leaving an indelible mark on the industry? Join us as we explore my guest's riveting journey from her early days in television news to her pivotal roles at Universal Studios and DreamWorks SKG Studios. Discover how her creative brilliance, resilience, and unwavering dedication to storytelling have made her a luminary in the entertainment landscape, captivating audiences across the globe with her acclaimed work, Road to Elysium. Kay Oliver's illustrious career reads like a masterclass in versatility and excellence. With over 3 decades of experience in Hollywood, Oliver has not only worked alongside an industry titan like Steven Spielberg, but has also earned her stripes as an award-winning author, marketer, brand specialist, professor, and entertainment executive. Oliver's expertise spans the realms of creative storytelling, business finance, and marketing. As a professor at Stanton University, she continues to impart her wealth of knowledge in marketing and sales, ensuring the next generation of entertainment professionals are equipped with the skills to thrive in an ever-evolving industry landscape. During this episode, we'll do a deep dive into the changes and hot topics of a successful Hollywood insider. We will leverage the expertise of my guest and how to navigate the unique dynamics of the field. By the end of this episode, you'll be better equipped to know what to do, and I encourage you to contact my guest, Kay Oliver, celebrated author and writer, marketer, brand specialist, professor, and entertainment executive. With that, I want to welcome her to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, it's really thrilled to have you on the program. Been waiting for this and anticipating this. I'm wondering if you could tell us, with so many things in your background, what was the pivotal moment? And could you tell us a story about how you got in the field in the first place?
Well, that's kind of interesting because I don't have any relatives in the Hollywood field,
Okay.
um, but I have a love of writing and telling stories. And I went to Cal State Fullerton and got my degree in radio, TV, film, and got a job first in the news, and then accidentally got pulled into doing the news on camera. And shortly after that, decided in front of the camera wasn't my gig.
Okay.
I didn't have the patience for what fans say to you or do to you, or you're in a restaurant trying to eat and everybody's staring at you. It's just not me. So other people have that ability. I do not. So I went behind the camera and began working there, telling stories, working on many, many films. And when I got to DreamWorks, I had a first and last, which means a right to see the scripts that I write first.
Mm.
And if someone else decides to bid on the script, then a last. And they get to see the script again. So the problem was I like strong female characters.
Okay.
Silly me. And they would say the scripts are great, but strong women are not marketable. So I eventually left the field to have my own creative control and began writing my own stories and begun winning award after award for the stories. So there you go. I guess they're marketable in books, but not in film. That doesn't make any sense.
Right. Now, that's certainly a significant change. It's a social change. So I'm curious about some of the changes that you've seen, and maybe you can address what has happened since that time.
Well, right. Like the Me Too movement and all of that. So if you get into Hollywood, one of the things you need to know as a woman um, is to have thick skin. You have to have thick skin. It's not that you want to allow the things to happen around you that happen, but you have to pick your battles. And if you do know that you'll probably be branded as a problem child just because you're standing up for yourself. It is a cultural thing, as you state, but it is definitely very prevalent in Hollywood. The changes are minor at this point, in all honesty.
Okay.
One of the reasons is, we still have to fight for equal pay, and definitely within the studios.
Hmm.
So you don't have as many, extremely wealthy women who are going out who, want to buy a production company and make those films, because that's who's making the stronger female films right now are women producers, and women who have their own production company and can afford to finance the film. That's where it comes into play. You have to get people that will say, yes, I'll finance that film. It's not just that you want to make the film. So that has changed, not all that significant. And proof of that is the last Oscars and the two people left out of the Barbie Oscar, best picture, but you don't get best director and you don't get best actress, which happened years ago with Barbara Streisand and Yentl.
Right.
So it hasn't changed in that respect. There is a movie out, or a TV series out, called Quiet on the Set, about Nickelodeon and what the women and people went through. I started to watch it and I couldn't finish it because it brought back memories. So yeah, but it's pretty accurate. So it hasn't changed all that much. But they feel they're in a cocoon. I think the executives, up until the Me Too movement, were in a cocoon. I used to hear that the movie industry was not, would never be charged with sexual harassment because they have love scenes and things like that in the movies. Therefore, they didn't worry about it. So if they harassed you at work, well, no one's ever going to charge them with anything. And that was the attitude that I heard several times while I was working there over the decades. So, maybe now the Weinsteins, that's one person. The other people, there hasn't been that many people convicted. And the people around them that helped them set it up are not even charged.
Yeah.
So you have to think about that. They just went for the top brass and that was it. And everybody else is free to go.
Are there some growth areas that you'd see? Because there's a lot of people who would like to know, how do I get into the industry? And are there areas that you would say, this is really what you should be thinking about in terms of growth?
Technology. So when I started, they had the big cameras and the big batteries, and you didn't have phones on your cameras. There weren't phones. And that has changed greatly, which has opened up the field. So TikTok might have its next director already working on TikTok. The problem then becomes, learn your editing, learn how to direct, make things that are very, that just catch people. That would be my first thing. If you have classes, if you're younger, there are now those kind of classes in high schools, because I've gone and spoke to them, many of them take those classes. Having a degree in radio, TV, film helps get in the door. And if you want to get in the door, don't just think, I want to be a director and that's it. If you want to get into a studio, there are any kind of job you can think of in the studio. There's mailroom, there's accounting, there's legal, there's, a variety of, it's like a little city. And, once you get in the door, you can make those connections. But it is the technology, understanding the current technology, understanding AI, what it can do and cannot do.
Okay.
All of that is the best way to get in. And if you're a writer, then write strong male leads. Unless there are some that take it on. You can't be a published writer and try to sell a story to some of the female production companies, because they want the unwritten script. They want the unwritten book and the first chance at it, as opposed to, hey, this is published, it's winning all these awards, here's my script. So learn everything. And then if you're in school, join the things. Join the Television Academy as a student. Join the Motion Picture Academy as a student. Go to those events. Network in those events. It's kind of hard. There's nights that you want to say, I don't want to go to something, but you got to get up and go. You got to, attend these things. I was in the Television Academy as a student, still in the Television Academy. And I went to all those events and networked. So, you have to really, networking is the key. Hollywood is a giant schoolyard.
So, are there things that you would generally recommend for this unique approach because you were groundbreaking and what you have done, what you've accomplished? So, what kinds of recommendations should you think about if you were wanting to be the insider now or to break into the industry?
Well, when I first joined Hollywood and got into Hollywood, I thought I'm getting right. When I started working in a big movie studio, I thought I'm going to get out of Hollywood. And I thought, because you see some people who go up the ladder very quickly, and it depends on you and your personality and your ethics and values. I thought, I'm not doing that. And I was fortunate enough to be working for Lloyd Thaxton, who was a well known producer in Hollywood, The
Sure.
Gong Show, for interest. He's passed away now. But he pulled me in his office and he said, you don't have to change you know, be you. If you don't want to do something, don't do it.
Mhm.
Realize the other people will go up the ladder faster, but they also fall faster. And I've seen that. So I stuck to my guns and lived my life my way. I wasn't going to step on people on the way up. And that is my recommendation, because you lay your head on the pillow at night and you have to think about, yourself. I didn't have to worry about, oh, is someone going to find out about this and find out about that? I just, I felt good about everything I did. And it was a strong way up the ladder for me. So
There's so many things that you have done. I'm curious then if you could elaborate a little bit on your expertise. What do you offer and what do you do now? I mean, the book, for example, and you've written a number of
uh,
incredible works. So I'm wondering also if you could give some actionable tips. So the person who's listening, it's like, what were the things that you would do and what sort of expertise do you have?
So I would, well, it depends on if you want total creative control. And, I have 7 books out right now. Next Monday, I'll have number 8 out. And for me, my writing, like I said, my writing's very good. So I'm a people watcher. I study people. I watch them. I listen to them, which means not just hearing them, but listen to them. And I influence that into my characters. Um, when I was directing films, I would tell you that the bloopers, and as you probably know, anybody, because that watches films, the bloopers tend to be the best part that
Absolutely.
get kept in because a writer never thought of it. And so I always like to, have my cast do crazy things, do everything twice the speed just to relax and not worry about your marks and your lines. And I swear I use that all the time. I use that footage all the time. And the other thing I always do when I start any movie project for me is everybody on the set, I call a meeting and I say, anybody who has an idea, come to me. Tell me your idea. I don't care if you're the person who's sweeping the floor. If you're watching us film something and you think, oh, that would be funny or cute if you do X,
Hmm.
or more emotional if you did X, come to me and tell me, because I definitely don't want to hear after, that, oh, I thought this might work. I'd be like, yeah, you're fired because we're done shooting that scene. Like, come to me and tell me. Yes, I'm the final decision maker, but everybody has ideas, and that's what I want to hear. And I want reality in my characters. I want them with flaws. I want them with being interrupted. I want, all the things of life that normally happen. Dialogue is extremely important. You
Hmm.
need to know how to write dialogue. Um, People don't speak in complete sentences and they don't use your name every time they speak. And I have seen that in movies, like all of a sudden, hey, Mick, da 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 da, hey, Kay, da 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 da, hey, Mick, da da. And I'm like, what? What's happening here? People don't talk like that. So understand how to write dialogue. I have some tips on that on my website. I have writing tips on my website. And go with the flow. There's a lot of pressure in Hollywood for timing and all of that and getting things done and getting finance. And always when you go to pitch something, have the elevator pitch, which means under 2 minutes, and have a couple of other ideas in your back pocket. because you get one chance at meeting with these people very often, and you throw out something, they go, oh, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a holiday movie. Oh, I happen to have, and have two or three or four pitches ready to go. So you can, while you're with them, do it.
When you, in terms of tips that you would give, should a person gear themselves for specific fields, like if they wanted to be a screenwriter or they wanted to be a director, or how would you recommend? Are you saying get into the field first, get network, or should they have a focus on something specific in mind?
Well, I went in with a focus. I was a video editor to begin with and writer. And I still love it. I still do. But I also found out that if you know how to video edit, you're a pretty good director because you know what you need to have in the film. So that came natural to me to direct some films. So, but I would never tell someone not to go in with a passion and work your way to your passion. What I'm saying is don't just narrow your options with that passion. It is always fantastic to know everything about what's going on around you. So if you want to be a video editor, I would be on set and watch them shoot and see what would end up on the tapes that I would be editing.
Mm.
Um, but understanding all the different parts and all the different people and how it all functions is always advantageous to anybody in the field. But what I'm saying is if you want to get in the door first, don't always use the front door. Sometimes a window or coming down the chimney, Santa, get you in and then you can network. But yeah, keep your passion. Go for your passion. Let people know your passion. They'll
You
help you.
Some of the most interesting and long-lasting people in Hollywood, which can be up and then down really quickly, are those people who seem to have a grasp of everything. I mean, Clint Eastwood, right? He had
Right.
certain genre he started, and then all of a sudden he's a phenomenal director. So, I mean, those people seem to have been paying attention to all aspects of movie making.
Right. Because he started as a stuntman, right? And yes, and that's funny because you mentioned Clint Eastwood. I always thought maybe I didn't direct properly because I'm a fast director in the sense of I don't sit there and redo and redo and redo the shots. Because, like I said, I was a video editor, so I knew exactly what I needed until I met Clint and found out Clint does it the exact same way.
Oh.
So I always say he mentored me, but he didn't. But he sets up several stages at one time. So he'll do a shoot maybe once or twice and get everything that he needs in that location and move to the next one and shoot. And he might do 3 different sets in one day and keep going. And most directors don't do that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm in good company if I direct like Clint Eastwood does. So yeah, so he understands all of that definitely, and he has the power now and the backing, and he's a male in the male-dominated industry to say, I want to make this movie, and people go, here's your money, because he's done so well.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Costner's another one. So yeah, absolutely.
Those people seem to, you can mention the names that they've done something, and then all of a sudden they've actually got other parts of the production process because they obviously have been paying attention and learning as they're going on in their so-called one focus career.
Absolutely. You nailed it. They have kept their minds open. They have done it all. They roll up their sleeves. They get involved. No task is too little. I have been at a production. If you know who Jeffrey Katzenberg is, he works
Yep.
for Steven Spielberg. Yeah.
Sure.
And we were packing up stuff, and I'm a roll up the sleeves because that's if it's not breaking any union rules. And I assume that if I help, we'll get out of here quicker. Um, and I had 2 executives standing there watching us, and Jeffrey came in, literally rolls up his sleeve, and he starts doing the same thing I'm doing. And I'm like, ooh, I would not want to be the executive under him standing there just watching. That's what I thought. But yeah, he got right in there and did it. And he's an individual who is very, like Lou Wasserman, innovative. He is someone who's always trying to improve Hollywood and try to improve the technology. So he's a very interesting person that most people don't talk about. But I enjoyed working for him immensely. So
a lot of great things that you've been able to share, like the changes, the hot topics, and a lot of the inside things that most people really don't know, and the books. I'm wondering if you could tell people how they get a hold of you and like where they find your books and what would you
Yeah.
recommend to get in touch with you?
Yeah. So this is the book that everybody loves, Road to Elysium. It is actually with some producers right now to make a possibility of making a movie. It's won 8 awards. You can get in touch with me at my website, which is my full name, uh, Kaya Oliver.com. And it has how to get connected with me on there as well. It has writing tips, it has press releases, and you'll probably see this podcast put under the press area. So lots of information on my website.
I'll say, how do you have all this information in a short amount of time, Kate? So thank you very much for being able to share all the inside tips that like almost everybody wants to know. And that was awesome to hear. Thank you so much for taking some time out and chatting with me today.
It was my pleasure, and I'm here to help people learn and grow.
Awesome. Thanks again, Kate. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet. So you just heard it from the inside, all the tips that you really wanted to know, but were afraid to ask. If you like the show and you want to make sure you keep the guests coming, which are really awesome, make sure that you're liking, subscribing, positively reviewing, and also telling other people about the Doctor of Digital podcast. I also want to thank those people who have supported the program, the publishers of Burning America and also publisher of On Track, Ian Hunter, for their support. Keep the guests coming, keep the letters and cards coming, all those things. Until next time, this is the Doctor of Digital signing off. Day is full.